Hello.
Hello and good morning.
Nice. I like that you didn't even check in. You just went, I'm going to call that mofo.
7:30 on the dot.
Yeah, on the dot. Just
On the dot.
just making me feel safe.
Yes, just this time.
Just this time.
Just this time.
I like the possibility of just kind of trolling based on how late you can get before my heart rate starts to go up, etc.
Absolutely, and also I just have to start with an apology to everybody. I'm afraid Jeffrey Miller has the devil in him.
Oh.
He has, it's very early on a Sunday morning, and he thinks it's a funny game to get all his squeaky toys out and run around the house squeaking them, because he knows that effectively works as an alarm for everybody in the house. So he's like, if I run from one to the other, just squeaking them. So there will be, I'm confident.
There will be toys.
There will be toys.
Isn't that a film with Daniel Day-Lewis in it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think there's if my memory serves, the whole plot pivots on a toy shop for dogs.
And he swears a lot, and lots of saliva, spit comes out of his mouth when he's acting.
Yeah, because he's got to sort of meet the energy of some of the St. Bernards that are also quite spitty and swearing.
Yeah, a lot of saliva in that film, I remember. This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing.
So I've just made that rookie error again because yesterday I made a focaccia. Well, I started it Friday, cooked it yesterday. And it's a cinnamon-bun focaccia. So it has
excellent
cinnamon butter, sugar, and then it's got a icing, a glaze on top. Mm-hmm. And it was scandalously nice. And so I've just had a big chunk for breakfast just before this call.
And so you're
Claggy.
Claggy?
Yeah, Dr. Claggy. Call me Dr. Claggy. You can call me. I'd call you Professor Claggy, but I'm Dr. Claggy.
You wouldn't need to call me Professor or anything this morning because I've yet to break my fast.
Ah.
Although I have been making.
That's that early. That's how early it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, I tend to eat with Bob, and so I put off breakfast until Bob is awake.
Which is
so
like
I don't
11
eat by myself. No, she's actually, getting up quite early these days. 8
Does she get disturbed by Jeffrey running around throwing his toys?
It's hard not to be disturbed by that. Also, he has discovered actually he discovered this quite a long time ago, that if you wait until Bob is breathing in a particular way, sometimes her mouth opens. I'm a terrible mouth breather when I'm asleep. This wouldn't be a problem for me. He could get access to it all the time. But he has to wait until Bob just sort of shifts her mouth, and then he sticks his tongue in.
Oh.
And then quite often I'll just hear, ew!
Is he waiting for that moment?
Yeah, he
just
sits,
waiting to launch.
He sits over her like a little vulture with his head dropped down, just staring at her mouth. And he just does it once, and he's just like, ha, I got you. And then he leaves.
Does she know that he's there before the lick?
No, because she's fast asleep and he's quite subtle of climbing on the bed. It's part of
Jeffrey's quite subtle climbing up on the bed. Now everyone knows you're a liar. So, I'm now flying solo again. Just half an hour ago.
Oh wow!
We were two has become one.
Oh, so it's like when two becomes one by the Spice Girls, but not in the sense of cleaving together.
Was that a song? was that a song about?
I think it's a
Rumpy Pumpy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, which is why I tried to be delicate and say cleaving together.
I now I've said rumpy pumpy, which is the first time those words have been uttered on this podcast. Where did they come from? So I'm after many weeks, nearly 2 months of hanging out. Lil's today is off to a place called Sassari in Sardinia. And as she said yesterday, I feel like the canary in the gold mine.
So
I mean, not gold mine, coal
coal
mine.
mine. That's okay. I was
Yeah,
just going to brush over that one.
Different.
I quite like this because explain to everybody who has forgotten why this is a high watermark in the land of Lil and Simon.
So it's a high watermark because, well, so everyone knows, except for first-time listeners, which we've got a lot of now. I don't know that. I'm just making that up. That Lil and I bought an apartment, which is legally under her name for tax reasons. And it's very close. It's right at the tail end of renovations. So this week the bath will go in, the kitchen will go in, the marble is being cleaned. They're doing a second coat of paint. So really, it's just tying up loose ends, which is pretty exciting. And then Lil's gone there to have the next 2 weeks before moving into the apartment. She's going to just so she's around. And I think we didn't want to push our luck spending too much time together here. And so yes, it's a quite a extraordinary moment, but also there's so many things to, how do I say, why the canary in the coal mine? It's a little bit like, just because it turns out, Lee Miller, that
Go on.
immigrating is really tricky.
Yeah, it's almost
Or
like
migrating in this case.
it's almost like land masses don't want you to cross an invisible line.
Yeah,
where you
an invisible
go from
line that
one
was
thing
just
to another
human-made.
It's almost like people with red faces froth at the mouth, furious with anger that somebody with, I don't know, a slightly different accent or a fondness for food that smells different. Oh
just
my God,
actually, I thought about this a couple of weeks ago. We had a young Italian family, over for dinner. So husband, wife, or I guess their husband, wife doesn't matter, and their daughter, and the mother, doesn't matter what her name is. One of the things she said at the end, mostly we were talking in English. They both speak. The daughter is bilingual. Was born in Italy but raised here, really. And the mother said it towards the end, it was so good to have an adult conversation. And she wasn't talking about my conversation with her. I think it was about her conversation with Lil, frankly, and because I was mostly playing with the daughter. But it occurred to me that, because her English is, I think it's probably about the level of my Italian, except she's lived here. So that's, no, I think it's probably better than my Italian. Doesn't matter. But just how hard it must be in this country or any country to have a strong accent and to be missing a lot of so many kind of just, in quite complex conversations where there's irony, all sorts of things going on, just how difficult it is. And also just how often you'll be treated as an alien. Yeah. I have so much respect. I have so much respect for people who do what they have done. Even, and like all migrants are effectively economic migrants. It's just there are very few that are not.
No.
But it just makes me think that, you're saying about a slightly different accent, that what we're really talking about when we're talking about migration is xenophobia, isn't it? Like, it's not, it's just we're hiding from that word by talking about it as being about migrants.
I think it's even more disappointing than that.
More disappointing?
It's more disappointing than xenophobia. It's tribalism.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, which is not a word I would use very often. I feel quite uncomfortable utilising the term connected to, tribe, because it's so steeped in.
Frankie goes to Hollywood as well.
Well, I was thinking that colonial stuff, but in this particular instance, you've got if anybody's lived in the north of England, you can start a fairly sizable disagreement if you are from one side of the Pennines versus the other side of the Pennines.
It's that tribal.
It's based upon an enmity that is over 500 years old. Mm-hmm. So it's like these are things that get, I think to a greater or lesser degree, it's jocular. But still, there's just the idea that we have managed to pass on for multiples of generations. This idea that if you're from one side of the Pennines, you were at some point fighting against people on the other side of the Pennines, and therefore ... And so it's just this weird sense of like, oh, which side of the river are you from? Are you from, the north side of the river or the south side of the river? Are you a Geordie or a Mackham? There's so many versions of them, of this kind of pitting oneself against our very close neighbours. And it just makes my head spin, the level of enmity that we're able to reach. And I know that this is telling people nothing new. I know this is like, yeah, but football, City versus United. I get it. I get all of those sorts of things. I just find how catastrophic... Oh, hello, my watch just started to talk. How catastrophic it becomes when you zoom out. So on the micro level, it's irritating, or perhaps painful. If you've got one football team fighting another football team, and by that I mean they're fans, on the streets. People can get hurt. People can get glassed. I remember I had a friend go to a football match, and this would have been in the early to mid 80s. And he was he was somebody who collected glasses in the pub. So he wasn't a friend really, but he was, he would have been. He was
a bus boy. Is that what you call it?
We just called them glass collectors because the bus boy is an Americanism.
Ah, sorry.
It's okay. And he did it for pin money, and it meant that he could basically stand in the pub, get a couple of pints, and probably not cost himself anything. And he would have been like 18 or 19. He was young. He worked in the local paper factory, and he was going over to the other side of the Pennines. I can't remember whereabouts it was, for a football match. He supported one team. His team was playing another team, and he was wearing a Pringle jumper on the day that he went.
What's a Pringle jumper?
So Pringle is a kind of it's what I think of as like sort of golf wear or sports brands. Mm-hmm. Lacoste would be an example of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
And
now you hit a tennis player and a tennis brand. I'm with you.
Good.
I understand now.
Okay. So
cultural references locked in.
Good. So if Burberry is famous for its check, that kind of yeah. Pringle was famous for its diamond pattern.
Right.
Okay. You'll have seen a Pringle jumper for
I'm
sure, or you'll seen something influenced by it. Anyway, like many working class men, he spent his money on nice clothes. And he went to this football match, and there was some trouble. It was the early to mid 80s, not a massive shock. And he got slashed across the chest with a Stanley knife. And he had like 30 odd stitches, and he was so upset that they'd ruined his Pringle jumper. Not that he was cut from shoulder to hip, like really quite badly. Anyway, that's a sidebar of people being able to be hurt at a local level. But when you expand and you pull back to the macro, this level of disappointment and disagreeableness with our neighbours becomes this terrifying thing where people fight and kill, and it's because of an imagined line. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and you get, that's that weird thing, isn't it, about, I can't remember, maybe we've mentioned this before, but that, within a family, you fight your brother, and then if you zoom out from the family, then you'll fight other families. You zoom out from that, those families in the same community will fight other communities. So the depending on the degree of detail or how zoomed in you are, the tribalism expands and expands and expands. It fills me. I know the question of immigration clearly. I'm not sure this is what I was planning for us to talk about, but it just fills me with such sadness, whilst at the same time recognizing that, as you know how I feel, which is, God, we've got to have some conversation about it, which isn't about dog whistling. But of course, that's just long gone, the possibility that there might ever be a conversation about how to make immigration work in a country that has resources are at have so many resources, etc. But it's just, it just makes me. It really does. I don't think there's any subject that fills me with such sadness about human beings than the question of our relationship to immigration. Just yeah.
I'm always going to circle back to the exact same place, and I'm going to just say it's the billionaires. Just fucking tax them.
Yeah.
Because the resources that we don't have could be so easily resolved by taxing the rich. Taxing the rich until their eyes water. Because they're not doing anything that is about making jobs. That's not what they're doing. That's the narrative that we've been sold for such a long time. Oh, if we tax them, it'll disincentivize them. They won't want to be here. They're doing nothing for the community. They're doing nothing for society at large. I don't give a shit if they're not here. Tell them to fuck off to Switzerland. Do you know what I mean? It frustrates me so much. And I know there's a naivety to that. And if I had an economist here, although there are economists who very strongly argue tax the rich and tax them until their eyes bleed, not until they water, but until they're aneurysming. Technical term. Aneurysming. The past tense of having an aneurysm.
I think that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
past
over
imperfect,
it.
I think it is.
Yeah, thanks. I thought it was, I don't know. But it's one of those things. It's just like we have been so incredibly brought to heel in a kind of constant serfdom. And that's why we argue with our brothers, our families next door, neighbours, blah, blah, until it's, because it keeps us passive.
I was thinking about, I'm just chopping back to football. And it's one of the things that because most people who are listening will know that fans are separated in football matches, soccer matches here in the UK. Yeah. And all over Europe, that you have the away team has basically a section of the crowd. And
don't they have different doors as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They separate them at birth. They keep them very separate. The idea of being of that kind of violence that used to happen is. But it's interesting that in rugby, there is no separation of fans at all. So there is no culture in rugby of the kind of violence you're talking about. It gets pretty yappy and yippy, like it gets pretty colourful. But there's always the sense in rugby that it's that the culture is of friendship between fans, of fans hanging out together.
Is there, and call me crazy, is there a recognition that it's a game?
Yeah, it's also,
wow.
I think it's probably related to class more than anything else. I think it's because in this country, rugby union, this is not league, is effectively it's a private school game.
Yeah.
And football's, the people's game. And I think rugby league is a whole other thing, but I suspect class has something to do with it, that you'd have the same people going to a rugby game and that wouldn't happen. Oh, no, that's not quite right. I don't know, but it's very unusual that this that it's so peculiar. This kind of tribalism is so peculiar to football that it just doesn't cross over into other games and other sports at all.
But it's something which is, am I right in thinking this is something which is endemic across football around Europe? It's not just the British who like to fight.
Yeah, no, I'd say around the world. I think South America.
So that's the bit that makes me go, oh, well, because class is so massively complicated and disparate around the world, isn't it? So I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm kind of going like, oh, gosh, that sounds like a PhD needs to be written about that. Somebody probably has.
Probably has. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've not read it.
But I don't. I think if I. Because I'm not sure about taxing the rich in the sense that I by and large, I agree with you. My uncertainty is about whether that might solve the question of how we talk about or don't talk about or yell about immigration. And it's just, and like I say, it's such a thin, it's so thinly disguised as But yeah, anyway, I don't know what to say about it other than just how, like, in terms of the things that are going on, and it's so related to climate, and so of all the things that are going on in this world, that this question of it's a favorite theme of ours, of otherness, and particularly that which is otherness which is identified by race. Another construction. Fucking, we're crazy. I just I don't mean that we're constructing the idea of someone being black and someone being white. I don't mean that, but just that the idea of race as if it should matter. It's just like,
well, given that, what is it? We've
beings.
got 80% of our DNA is shared with a banana. So,
yeah,
you know,
and
come on.
99.9 with chimpanzees. I mean,
Exactly, and yet we still somehow manage to argue about eye colour, hair colour, skin colour. It's it is. When you take a moment, it is so fucking ridiculous. Yeah. Just to there's a lot of circling.
Lighten that.
No, I'm not going to lighten it. I'm just going to circle back to the apparent elision between billionaires and migration that I made. I think the bit that I forgot to say out loud was, you talked about the idea of dog whistle. We are being dog whistled into hating one another so we don't notice the people who genuinely have their boot on our neck. That's the bit that I'm sort of returning to. That I get it, that it wouldn't automatically overnight change things, but when people are saying our resources are depleted because of people coming over on boats, that is fundamentally not true. It is a lie. It's not even like, oh, well, it's complicated. It isn't complicated. It is a lie. The reason that our resources are stretched is because we have not been utilising a taxation system which could ensure that people who have more give more. What we've done instead is we've shifted the but this is exactly. But instead, what we've done is we've shifted the taxation burden onto the lower middle classes and made them poor, which makes them feel more straitened and angry, and then they're looking for somebody to blame in a way that they didn't used to have to look for somebody to blame because they felt relatively. So I think there's a lot of stuff there about pushing the burden back to people who are quote unquote wealthy. You know, those people on 80, 90 grand a year. Oh, that's a lot of money, except it's not anymore because ... You know, it's still an awful lot of money. I'm not pretending that people on that kind of salary are not doing super well. What I mean is that by placing the burden of taxation on that kind of bracket, it serves to reinforce that idea that I'm having something taken off me. Who's doing it? Those people on boats. And so it spreads this idea of discontent and frustration. Yeah, and division, exactly. Whereas nobody's looking in the other direction. Look up the chain. Don't look down the fucking chain. And that's the bit that makes me so... I mean, super cross, and I am all about let's not other, let's not distance, let's not them and us, except when it comes to the rich. Let's absolutely them and fucking us. Let's not tax them, let's eat them.
Hey, great talking to you this morning.
Shall we agree never to record early in the morning again? Because apparently
I'm never going to bring up
us.
immigration again. Oh no, but I just want to I just have so much respect for people who do that. My heart sings for them. It really does. I
think everybody should be forced to spend a little bit of time trying to navigate a bureaucracy in another language. Just so that in another country, just so that they can understand how different things are and how difficult it is when you don't have the language and how much you rely on the kindness of strangers.
Oh, the stories I can tell you about Italy and Lil's experience. I mean, it's not stopped. It's still, and as our friends there just said, Lil, you can't get it right. You have to stop imagining that you can get this right. Hey, see ya.
Lovely to see you. Take care.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Bye.